Anakin with his speedership. Okay. So let's open up where we left off. Again, we were doing the word wrapping around the middle of the part. Remember the word wrapping around the middle here? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do away with that for now. So how I do away with it. Right now I already have it wrapping. I have the text wrapping around it. So to turn off the wrapping, you can click on the columns of text that you have. You can go to the object menu and go to where it says text wrap and say release. By releasing it, then it won't be wrapping anymore. So again, I select my columns of text and go to text wrap and release. And, oh, it didn't work. Oh, I got to select my object, though, too, first. Sorry. Object and the paragraphs of text. Then go to object, text wrap, release, and it goes back to normal. I'm going to get rid of this circle here. It was a good idea because I wanted to see that, but I want to show you a different way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to import some pictures of the artist, right? Some samples of his work. And I'm going to scatter them around here and talk about wrapping the text around the images, like you would see in a book, right? When you're looking at a magazine and stuff, you usually see a picture of something and then the text wraps around it. That's what we're going to do. So I'm going to import some of the pictures by using the File Place option. I'm going to go to my folder. I'm going to choose some of the artist work. Of course, the Mona Lisa with the mustache is a must, probably. I'm going to bring that in. Again, I'm going to draw a box. It's not going to be too big, not too small. I'm going to think about where I might want to place it. I can move it around after, but I'm going to kind of place it maybe right around here. Now, I don't want it to be this big. It's going to take up the whole paragraph, right? And I don't want it to be this small. It'll be too small to see. So I'm going to kind of make it sort of halfway between the column of text. Okay. In addition, I'm going to bring in another one. We already did did we do the pipe already? Yeah, we got the pipe and we got that one. What's another famous one? Oh, nude descending staircase. There we go. Uh-oh. It says it's in a format that cannot be placed. Well, we can change that. Most likely it's in a GIF format, and if you're using certain color spaces that are different than the color space you're using, sometimes it might not work. I don't know what the problem is, but I'm going to open up that nude descending staircase. This is the one. I don't know why there's a problem with it. I'm going to open up in Photoshop. Oh, why is this thing here? Go away. And then I'm going to save it in a different format. I don't know why it's giving me a problem here. JPEG should be fine. Let's do PNG. That'll be different. This is oh, I forgot to look at the color space. That was my mistake. Image mode. One problem you might have is sometimes people save files in 16-bit mode. See how you got something called 8-bit, 16-bit, 32-bit channels right there? Mostly everything we do is in 8-bit, so you might have a problem if you're trying to import something and it doesn't work. It might be in 16-bit mode. The only reason why I would use the 16-bit mode is if I'm using grayscale and I want to have more than 256 levels of gray. I want a whole thousands of colors of gray. I might use the 16-bit here. But that's the only difference that I usually use the 16-bit in this option here. Because the problem with grayscale, if you use 8-bit grayscale, you're only going to have a range of 1 to 256 levels of gray. Whereas if you use 16-bit grayscale, you will have 16,000 colors of gray. 64,000 levels of gray. 64,000, that's it. So that was one look, and of course it's in RGB, so that shouldn't be a problem. I don't know why it's not letting me. Let's just save it as a different format. How about that? We'll save it as a PNG. That should work. We'll just call it nude PNG. That sounds like a good name, right? Oh, and this is a problem right here. I've recognized this lately. If you compress it, if you're saving it as a PNG, okay, and it defaults to the smallest load, it won't let me import it into another program, or at least it won't let me import it into Adobe Premiere. I was trying to do some video work over the weekend, and every time I would save a PNG with this option, it wouldn't let me bring it in. So you have to go and say none. I don't know why. It's a compression problem, so none right there is better. Okay, let's try and go back and see if we can get it to work now. So again, file, place. I think I called it nude. Nude. I can't find it. Third to the last. Oh, thank you. Let's try again. Start it towards the top here. Okay. And maybe we'll throw one more towards the bottom in at the end here. Small one. What do we got here? We got the Mona Lisa, we got the nude, we got that. I guess, what is this? This is a sculpture? Okay, we'll do something a little bit different. I'm going to put it on this side. Okay. Oh, that's the shovel. The shovel. Okay, again, so I brought the samples of the artist work in. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the pictures. Notice how the pictures are over top of the text. Right? Remember I wrote that in the layer window when we were doing that? So the pictures are over top. Then I'm going to select the columns of text. And I'm going to go underneath Object, Text Wrap, Make. It says yes. It's going to wrap around all the objects. Yes, I do. Boom. So it'll wrap the text around all the objects. Now, it's all good and fun and everything looks great, but the problem is, of course, alignment. Alignment. Some things are not aligned. Wouldn't it be nice if this was lined up with the first paragraph right here, right? Wouldn't that be nice? Again, if you select a picture or something inside there, you can use the arrow keys on the keyboard to slowly move things around. I'm going to use the arrow key down. I'm going to move it down, move it down, move it down. So the top of it kind of lines up. And again, you can use your guidelines. Remember putting your cursor in the rulers up here? I can put my cursor in there and I can bring a guideline down so I can see. Does that line up? Oh, that lines up pretty good right there. Same with this. I might want to line this up with the top of this line right here. Slowly, slowly, not too far. That looks pretty good there. Very nice wrapping there. And then, of course, this doesn't look right down here. What is the problem with this one? Well, the problem with this one is the word is now wrapping with only one line here. It would be best visually is that at least I had two lines that are over top. Some things you can do with your picture is you can scale it, and it will still continually wrap around it. So if this picture is too big and taking up too much space, you can put your cursor along the edge of it. You can put your cursor along the edge and scale it down a little bit. And then you might need to move it over. And of course you wouldn't want to have a little line along the bottom like this. That's not going to look very good either. You want a line there, you don't want a line there. So I might move it down a little bit. There we go. That looks much better. Again, the top of the line should be the top of the text, maybe 1 pixel up, like that. That looks like it's aligned maybe a little bit more. Oh, too much. Maybe make it a little bit bigger so it takes up the best kind of space there. Make it a little bigger. Oh, too much. I don't like that. A little smaller. There we go. That looks a little bit better. If your pictures are floating, they look like they're floating. And so let's zoom in a little bit. Let's zoom in. I'm going to zoom in. Zoom in. This picture kind of is light and the background is kind of light. What you can do is you can cheat a little bit. Now, there's no way really you can put a stroke around a picture maybe in the appearance window, under appearance. You can add a pixel right here. Add a stroke right there. See it? Boom. But I don't know if that'll show up. That's the problem. I just don't know if this will work. Let me see if I make it bigger. Yeah, that doesn't seem to work for me. I don't know why. I would think that that would work. But that doesn't seem to work. So I don't have an answer to that. The easiest solution I have found is to just make a rectangle with no fill. Oh, it still has that selected. So make a rectangle with no fill and a stroke, and maybe make it a little bit bigger, and then draw a box around the picture like that. Cheating a little bit. Then if you select both of them, the picture and the stroke, stroke and the picture, and you can group them together so that they stay together as a group. Uh-oh, that just, once I grouped it, do you notice? It got rid of the text wrap. Ooh, that's not good. Maybe we should have done that first and then did the text wrap, right? I don't know. Probably do that before I do the text wrap. Okay, let's talk about the initial letter. Again, at the beginning of the paragraph, I want an initial letter. Now, the downfall of what I've done so far, and again, we're in the paragraph window right here under paragraph, or not paragraph, yeah, type paragraph. Here it is. Talking the stuff, remember the settings in the paragraph window. In the paragraph window, we have a variety of settings. Some of them, again, will be hyphenate right here. What the hyphenate is, of course, if the word is too long, like you see down here, see it right here, it'll hyphenate it. That might be okay. Themselves looks okay. What I don't like is the hyphenate when it's really small. Again, you can adjust the hyphenation settings underneath the pull-down menu here. There's one for hyphenation right here, hyphenation. In there it says hyphenate words longer than 6 letters, okay, which is okay, that's better. What I don't like is when it's really small, like 3 letters. And if you hit OK now, oh, that didn't kind of work. Was it 3 letters? Let's see again. Hyphenation, 3 letters. Word. Oh no, 6 letters after first 2 letters before. I don't really know. What I'm trying to do is what I don't like is if it's only 3 letters and then it hyphenates. You know what I'm trying to say? This seems to be okay right here. This and that one. I don't know. You could turn the hyphenate off. How about that? Boom. I don't like hyphenation myself. It helps when you have long words, though, in a short column like this, right? Because you have a short column here where I have some pretty long words in a short column. Because, you know, you have something really long and it makes weird spacing. But you can just turn the hyphenation off if you don't want it. Again, I'm going to put my rectangle around here. That's what I wanted. And it was, what, 2 points? There we go. Hold on, I got to put my stroke around my nude descending staircase. There we go. Okay, I kind of like a picture frame around the picture, so it helps frame it. Okay, so we talked about hyphenation. We got left align, ragged right. We talked about indenting the first paragraph of the entire thing here. And I believe we want to talk about the initial letter. Again, I want to use a big letter, so I want a big A up here. So the problem that you run into is if I just come and select the A that's at the front and start changing the size of it, I can change the size of the A to a big letter. Notice now, when you do that, just by adjusting the first letter right here, notice how now the top of this line doesn't line up with that one. See the problem you have right there? And so there's a variety of ways you can avoid that problem. In addition, I don't like the hyphen. I don't want it to be indented. I want the A to be there. Can I remove the indent from the first paragraph here? Let's see. Can we do one line at a time? Sure. It's letting me do one line right there. There's an option right here. In addition, it's touching the T. Let's zoom in so we can see a little bit more of what's going on here. Okay, so again, what I did was I got rid of the indent for the first. Now the rest of them still have indent, though. Do you see that? I just did it for one line. You can do it for one line. Okay. One way to avoid the problem that you have with this line not being lined up with this line is to do the baseline shift. Well, actually, let's change the font too. I'm gonna go with a little bit of font. So let's change the font first, and then we'll go with. How about we do a scripty font? Sometimes people use scripty fonts for the first initial letter. What else would we do? Scripty font. Well, we definitely don't want to use flesh wound. Ooh. Well, maybe for Deschamps. No. It's okay to use, oh, there we go. A nice letter like that. You can even change the color. Boom. Okay. Nice red initial letter like that. Looks good. Again, we're still having problems with alignment of this first paragraph aligning with the top here, right? What can we do? Well, we can adjust it maybe by using our baseline shift. I think we talked about that briefly. In the character window, you can bring up show options. Show options in the character window. Show options. And it'll give you more options down here. More options down here. In the more options down here, you have this one, set the baseline shift. Do you see that one? Okay, it's under, again, character. You need to show more options right here, and you'll get your baseline shift. Inside there, we can go negative. Oh, no, we don't want negative. We want positive. Uh-oh, but it's not moving the whole paragraph up, is it? It's not moving the whole paragraph. It's moving the text up, but it's not moving the whole paragraph up. So that's not going to help us. Okay, so what can we do? Well, we could cheat and make it a separate font. What do you think about that? The problem with that, though, is wrapping of text. And then we could change the leading of that one line right here. So let's change the leading of that one line. Well, that's not going to work, is it? You need two lines to change leading. Change the leading of these two lines. No. I don't know. Anybody have any answers? I don't have an answer right now. How can we make this go up? We've got a big, because, you know, the problem is this is big letter here.
You just highlight the rest of that text you have in there.
This text? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. Let's try it. So baseline shift this whole line. Yeah, but it's moving one line, but this other one stays where it was. But that was a good idea. Well, it's if you do two lines, it's going to end up adjusting. Yeah, but then you'll have an R space there. All of them. But it will wrap. If you need to make an adjustment, it won't wrap properly. Because if you want to change the font, it needs to flow from this line to over there. I don't think that'll work. Okay, how about we do this? We're going to cheat. Cheating is good. Cheating is good. How do I undo all this? Undo, 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 redo. Okay, how about this? How about we cut this out? Cut it out. Add our paragraph back in. Add our paragraph back. Oh, wrong way. Add our paragraph back in. Make a new line of text. Paste it. And just line it up there. Here. Cheating, but I don't know if that's the best solution. But there we go. Look. I got an initial letter. So it's just a separate piece of text. That's all. I don't know. The advantage of that, though, is I could make an adjustment to the font. Like, I don't like this font. I'm going to go adjust it. I'm going to change it to a different font. Let's say this font. Notice how things start wrapping differently now. You want to try and keep the font so that you can change it, you know, without having to make a lot of adjustments. That doesn't look too bad. Let's pause our recording. So let's say you made something like this that, of course, uses specific fonts that are on this computer here, right? As well as, remember, the pictures. These are not embedded. Remember we discussed the embedded option? Remember we talked about that? So if you just imported or use the place option, like I placed the pictures in, the pictures are linked to the picture that's on the hard drive. If you want the pictures to be inside the Illustrator file, you need to select the picture and go embed. I think we discussed that already. I'm going to click on that. That'll say, oh, why is it asking me for this? Unembed. Oh, it is embedded already. Why is it saying embedded already? Oh, this one, for some reason, this one's already embedded. See that? But of course, this one is not. See it right here? It says embed. You got to click on that. And then this one right here, oh, that's already embedded too. I wonder why these two and this one wasn't. I don't know. But how do I know? When I click on it, it says unembed right there. See that? And then this one says embed. Don't know. So that's something I might do before I go to FedEx, right? You don't want to get over to FedEx and your pictures are not there and you're crying. I have to drive home, get my pictures again and come back. No. In addition, your fonts are a problem because you use fonts on your computer and then you go there and they don't have fonts that you used. One way to avoid the font problem, of course, would be to save it as a PDF, but that's not always the best option. Another foolproof way is to convert the font to an object. You can actually convert the font to an object. Now, you won't be able to edit it. Of course, you might save as multiple versions, right? I might go under File, Save, okay, and say, oh, this is the good saving. I'm saving, I'm saving, I'm saving. This is my working file. Because once I outline the text, because it's called outline, once I outline the text, you can't edit it again. What I mean by outline is you can convert the font or the letters. You can convert the letters. Oops, where's this? I want that letter right there. No? I don't know. I can't grab that one for some reason. You can select the text and go underneath object, or not object, type. Where's create outlines? Object? It was under type? Do you see create outline somewhere? Oh, thank you. It's under create outlines. If you say create outlines with your text, boom, it'll convert it to an object. It still looks like text. See it? And it'll still print in PostScript, but it'll print as an object and not text. And you won't be able to edit it. So it's still good. This one probably should be an outline too if you're going to do that. That's one way to avoid font problems. Of course, the other way again is to save as a PDF. Of course, this probably up here should be an outline. Everything should be an outline here. If you save as PDF, the text should be text. Yeah, you should be able to use whatever font you want. The downfall, though, is sometimes you might run into problems. And what I mean by that is if the program tries to edit it, it's just like in Photoshop. You ever open up a file in Photoshop, and it'll let you use a crazy font that you use somewhere else in Photoshop, but you can't edit it, right? As soon as you start editing it, it'll actually convert it to something else. So that's the problem with that kind of thing. And with a PDF, it's the same way. You can open a PDF up inside of Illustrator, and once you open the PDF up in Illustrator, it's gonna try and substitute the font. So in order to use the PDF properly, they would need to open it not in Illustrator, but in Acrobat, right? Do you know what I mean? So if you save it as a PDF, don't let them open, don't let the FedEx people open it in Illustrator, because then it'll try doing a font substitution. If you use if you use PDF, make sure they open it in Acrobat, not Illustrator. Now, of course, if you create outlines, woo, you won't have that problem. But of course, I can't edit it. If I was going to save as a PDF, I go under File, Save As. You have an Illustrator or PDF option under the Save As window. In older versions of Illustrator, there was an actual Save as PDF option. And it asks you for high quality, medium quality, or low quality. There was like a little range. This also has something similar. If you choose PDF here, and I'm going to hit Save, it's going to come up with a window. Here's the window. There's a lot of features in the PDF option here. Okay, the PDF has been notoriously difficult to deal with because colors shift in a PDF a lot and things like that. So I know we're dealing with CMYK, which helps a lot. It's hard to save an RGB PDF and then have them print it out on a CMYK. You'll run into a lot of color shifting that way. Do you know what I'm saying? If you're using RGB, save as a PDF, take that PDF somewhere to have it printed out, and they're using a CMYK printer, you're going to have a lot of color shifting right there. Okay, so make sure you staying in the color space. Again, make sure we're in CMYK right here. Inside there, you got embed page thumbnails, preserve Illustrator editing capabilities. Again, the problem with that is the person can open the PDF up in Illustrator, and once you open it in Illustrator as a PDF, it's going to want to do a font substitution, so be aware of that. Open it in Acrobat if you're going to print it somewhere else. There's a compression option which allows you to compress. Do not downsample, do not downsample. What this does is it tries to compress your bitmap images. Now, by default, it's not going to do that, but sometimes you might need to compress your bitmap images if you're trying to make a PDF that's small enough to do something with. For example, I help a woman who makes something called a tukis. What are tukis? They're like little washcloths. She has them. She has women that that don't have husbands, okay, and have children in India. And she has like maybe 120 of them, I believe. And they sew in India. They sew them by hand. And then she sells them here in the United States. They're called tukis. I help her a lot with her website and with her graphics sometimes. And one of the things is she tries to make documents and email them to people. And of course, what's wrong with the email? You can only have 20 megabyte email files, right? So every once in a while, she runs into the problem. I can't email. She calls me on the phone and says, well, compress your pictures in your PDF right here. And when she does that and compresses the pictures in the PDF, it makes it small enough that she can email usually. So that's why you might want to adjust this setting here. Mark and bleeds. This is going to be lines that go around the outside of your document to help you trim it. If you're printing on something that's a bigger piece of paper, it's good to put those on. What does that do? Well, you're going to get around your document, you're going to have like this. Here's my document. You're going to get little marks along the edge like this. That's the trim marks. That'll help you when you're trying to cut. You can see the lines, right? So that might be nice to put on. Registration mark is going to be a little cross. Color bars is going to be little colors that go along the edge. Now, it's not that important anymore. What we used to use the color bars for is, in the old style printing method, we used to use a camera, okay, to take a picture of the image to do the color reproductions. And we used to go and read the actual color swatches with something called a densitometer. And that densitometer then would read how much is in that color to adjust the camera. Most people today are using color copiers, nothing's really printed on a printing press pretty much anymore. Everything's done with a color copier. Even here at West Valley, everything's done. You know, this is not on a printing press. People don't use printing presses anymore. It's a color copier. Color copier. You want to go on a field trip to a printing place? I have Elmadin Press. It's in Sunnyvale. They'll have us. I've been over there. They'll take us on a tour. They'll show us all the presses and things. They even still have presses there, but they don't use them. They use the color copiers. You guys want to go? You guys want to go on a field trip? I don't know. Want to go see how things are made? Yeah? Okay, I will email him and see if he'll invite us over. They owe me, so I made a video for them free of charge. My only pay was to bring my students to their play. So that's the color bars and stuff and page information. Output, I don't know, this is going to be color conversion. There's no color conversion. Convert to destination, preserve numbers, convert to destination. One of the things you can do if you are actually doing that is you're going to have a color profile. Okay, those profiles can be saved in your document so that when you send it somewhere, it'll be able to adjust the color. Usually, what I do with a color profile is something called an ICC profile, which is a color profile for a specific color printer, so that you could match your document to the color printer. It's called an ICC profile. I didn't do that with this one. Advanced fonts. Now, security, you can put a password in there, so people have to have a password to open up your PDF. Summary, and that's about the settings there. I tend to leave it at the default settings. I don't change it to older PDF versions. There's a variety of different PDF versions. I don't know, you might need to ask your printer, whoever's printing, what version that they want. When you're done, you hit Save as PDF. It's going to do its whole exporting thing. When it's all done, where is it located? Where did I save? I don't remember. Oh, here it is. And it's got to be in here somewhere. Here it is. Artist statement PDF. 85.4 megabytes my file turned out to be. That's pretty big, isn't it? Wow. So just be aware of that. You want to open an Acrobat and not Preview. I know Macintosh computers default to this thing called Preview because Steve Jobs never liked Adobe. He always was fighting with Adobe. Okay, so 85 megabytes, pretty big. Some of the things you could see is you see my crop marks, registration marks, a file name around the edge there, and so on. What makes my file so big, of course, is the giant digital images that I have in here, right? That background image of the bicycle wheel is pretty big. You got a lot of information in the image trace. If you want to print it out and see what it looks like on a basic laser printer, you can do what's called tiling. What is tiling? Well, since this is bigger than the 8.5 by 11 piece of paper that's in that laser printer over there, I can print it out so it prints out sections of it, and then you can put it together to see what it looks like. Okay, it's called tiling. Let me show you how to do that. If I go underneath File, Print, in the print window, of course, it's going to try and scale it down, right? Shrink oversized pages. Okay. I'm going to use the tiling feature. It's in Illustrator. Oh, poster. There we go. Poster option in the PDF. Inside of Illustrator, if you're trying to print from Illustrator, It's going to be called tiling. Let's go back to Illustrator so I can show you that first. Let's do that first because we're doing Illustrator. So if I'm going to print from Illustrator to the printer over there, I want to cut this up into separate pages. It's going to make 4. It's going to print out 4 of them. So and it's going to tile. What's called tiling. So again, in Illustrator, I go under File, Print. Again, it's bigger than the printer because it's recognizing the printer options up here. Inside there, you can do what's called tiling. And where are we at there? I know it's in here somewhere. Artboard, skip, reverse. Setup. No. Page setup. Continue. No. Page setup. Continue. No. Options. Visible layers, all layers. Scaling, here we go. Tile full pages. That's the one, I'm sorry. Took me a while to find it. So it's under scaling, tile 4 pages. And so what it does is you can see what it's going to do here. It's going to print each of these on a separate piece of paper. Then you can cut them out and put them together so you can see what they look like. Even though it's a black and white printer, I know it is. At least you can see what it looks like before you print it in color. So if I hit OK right now, remember it's 85 megabytes. And then it looked like in the PDF version, in the PDF, it was called Poster. Do you see that in PDF, in the Acrobat? There was a box here that said Poster. So tiling in Illustrator and Poster in Acrobat. And you'll see what it comes out. Oh, and then you can overlap them so that you can, because remember, when it's doing this tiling, you might need to overlap them a little bit. It's okay to overlap because then you can trim and line them up.